Welcome, welcome, welcome to Living Wealthy the Basics, Love, Romance, and Partnerships. Now, this is session number three, and in this session, we're looking at the occurring world of breakthroughs. Ooh, hey, the occurring world of breakthroughs. Now, we've done a lot, but now we're going to just really kind of look at that world. But before we begin, we have a little piece of spoken word to open the space for the evening. So let's hear Kamiko Farrar performing Color Me Pretty.
I used to sleep in lip gloss and earrings so I could dream pretty dreams. Had goals smaller than the lumps on a preteen, but craved the attention to be seen. If just one person had pulled us aside or pacifier and intervened, then maybe I wouldn't have had to teach myself that I was a queen, and there'd be no need to color me pretty. My mama once told me that when she was young, she would untangle her hair and thin it out with a fork. My coworkers asked, are those big afro things making a comeback? I don't understand why y'all want to wear your hair like that. See, it's not just hair. It's about more than attractiveness. There has been a whitewashing of beauty in the media. It's no coincidence that the so-called beautiful women of color look acceptably European. Our ancestors were told they weren't good enough. So now the fact that we are insecure is a generational curse, and we have developed an affinity for simulation. The spectrum of what is considered beautiful is determined by some itty-bitty chick in a big city. So photographers upgrade to the latest version of Photoshop and color me pretty. It's been written that a woman's long hair is her glory. Maybe. Unless it's kinky, matted, or knotted at the nape. But Garrett A. Morgan fixed it so our naps could hang and shake. So some say, don't sell me no black pride lies, just point me to the aisle with a no lie. You can have all that jazz about diaspora and African ethnicity. Why make it hard on myself? I know I'm black. Just color me pretty. And whether I'm light-skinned, dark-skinned, or brown paper bag passing, with natural hair dried in a house of powder from not moisturizing, or relaxed scalp full of scabs from the chemical burning, color me pretty. So I can kick it with the socially conscious or sit comfortably in the boardroom, so I don't sweat out my press and curl or my tracks don't show in the bedroom. Color me pretty. Okay, Lord. We can keep my shoes at a size 10, but could you make the rest of my body a size 3? Just don't take all my booty. Color me pretty. See, my ex dumped me for some Brazilian-looking chicken. I can't make him jealous rocking no Afro puff. See, I want to be black, but not too black, just black enough. Color me pretty. See, all those excuses are just a mask for our inherited insecurities. But pretty is as pretty sees, so when eyes are wide shut to possibilities, pretty is all we'll ever be.
Snap, snap, toe tap, and that was Color Me Pretty. Tonight's workshop, the occurring world of breakthroughs, complaints, the barriers to love, romance, and partnerships, the Divine Prosperity Blaster. Let's start off the webinar over to Diva Robin.
Thank you, Ronnie B. And hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight for session number 3 of Living Wealthy, the Basics, Love, Romance, and Partnership. I am Robin. Please welcome my fellow course leaders, Divas Nikki, Nakia, and Janice, as we continue this 6-part series. Living Wealthy, the Basics, Love, Romance, and Partnerships. The distinctions of love, romance, and partnerships are at the heart or center of power in having our deepest and most important desires manifested. This course is specifically designed for you to have breakthroughs in manifesting, having, and living a wealthy life. Thank you for participating. We promise if you do the assignments, you will have breakthrough results in an area of love, romance, or partnership. There is a powerful way to listen and participate in the seminar. Listen from what breakthrough am I committed to having from my listening and participation? Again, listen from what breakthrough am I committed to having from my listening and participation? You will have a miracle or breakthrough from your participation this evening if you create something important enough for you to have a breakthrough from your participation. Select one of these areas: love, romance, or partnership. Choose a breakthrough you would like to have in that area from your participation this evening. Make it something that is specific and measurable. As you are writing, ask yourself, what is a breakthrough? What would a breakthrough look like? What is the difference between a great result and a breakthrough result? What would a breakthrough look like in the areas of love, romance, and partnership? Is it something tangible or attainable, or simply an interpretation? Would I know a breakthrough if it slapped me in my face twice? Sometimes I wonder. The Divas and I are going to share what your fellow participants are getting out of the webinar series. Diva Nikki, what are they saying?
Well, Robin, Jonathan Greeley in North Carolina said, I was clueless to the degree I didn't listen to people in their current world of working with me. One of those don't know things. In the first session, Janice, who I love, like crazy, told Ronnie B that the divas were always saying there is no right or wrong. I didn't understand why Ronnie B kept saying that's not accurate. I have been listening to these seminars for 2 years, and Janice is absolutely right. I was left confused. So the discussion last week about the current world of knowing blew my mind. It was awesome. I had a breakthrough in listening that surprised me and brought me and my daughter back together. I finally heard there is no right or wrong way to listen or participate in the seminar, and that rocked my world. The two statements are not the same. One is about morality. The other was about listening and being able to choose who you were going to be about your participation and responsibility. Now I understood why Ronnie B kept saying that's not accurate. I have learned in your seminars the context is decisive. I asked myself, what filter have I been listening through that for 2 years I couldn't hear what the divas were saying? What is it I don't know that I don't know? Damn, where else am I listening through a filter and not hearing the real message? And the last question hit like a ton of bricks. I could feel tears start to swell up. I let them flow. Yeah, I got present to how much love was missing between me and my daughter. I also got present to how I listened to her and others through a filter of I already know. Whatever you have to say, I already know. What's worse is I already know that. Damn. Whatever my daughter has to say to me, I already know. My daughter is away at college, so I called her and I said, Liz, how are things going? What are you up to today? She said, you know, Dad, just the same old, same old. I said, baby, no, I don't know. How about you tell me? There was dead silence on the phone, so I repeated myself, and my daughter asked, was there something wrong? I could barely hold back the tears because I could hear her concern, and I got where it was coming from. When people are about to die or something traumatic is happening, they start wanting to talk and listen to their loved ones. I said, baby, there is nothing wrong with a father who knows already. Calling his daughter to stop being a jerk. There was a dead silence. After what seemed like an eternity, she said, Dad, what is going on? Is Mom okay? I said, your mother is okay. As a matter of fact, I need to start listening to her for a change instead of already knowing she might get a new husband from the one she already has. We both started laughing and crying. So, yeah, I had a breakthrough. I got my daughter back, but that wasn't the only blessing. My wife and I had a breakthrough in sex and intimacy. It was good. Well, thank you, Jonathan. The Divas who wants to share or comment. Divas who wants to share or comment.
Well, if it's okay, I'd like to comment. This is
Yes.
Diva Robin.
Yes, Diva Robin.
I had a really similar breakthrough, although it was a while back, and it had to do with knowing. And I had discovered that, well, I wanted to have a breakthrough in being more intimate with everyone, with my friends, with the people who love me. And I wanted to just feel closer to everyone. And I had no idea what was in the way. And I thought I was going to have, like, I don't know, some kind of big catharsis, and then, you know, flowers would appear and rainbows and and actually what happened was I discovered that I am a know-it-all, and that when people would try to contribute to me, I would be busy proving like I already knew what they were trying to tell me. And so people gave up a lot, and so it left me feeling isolated. And so I went, when I saw that I discovered it, and it was in the realm of what I didn't know that I didn't know. And it was so funny when I went back to my friends, I said, guess what? I discovered I'm a know-it-all, and that's been between you and my experiencing love with you as deep as we could have it. And they almost everyone that I went to said basically the same thing. Yeah, I know. We know you're a know-it-all. So we love you. And my relationships have never been the same since.
That's powerful. This is Jan.
Well, see, obviously that must have happened before I met you, Robin.
It did, actually.
Because if we get any more intimate, we'll be in trouble.
Yeah, so true.
And I actually do love your husband, so and like him.
Oh, yeah.
That was great. Anybody else want to chime in?
Yes, I would like to. This is Janice.
Janice.
Thank you. And good evening to you as well, Nikki. I had a great conversation with a client of mine yesterday. And this gentleman he's 85 years of age. He looks like he's 60. And I said something to him regarding a project that he and I are working on, and I took a back seat because of his expertise. And he has functioned, and I'll tell you how far he's functioned very shortly. He worked on the stealth bomber technology for our country. And he said to me, he says, Janice, I look to you for direction. And you just told me that you are a student of learning. And he says, that blew me away. I said, of course. I said, because I look to you. I said, I am so honored to have you as a client, Sal. I'm garnering from you. He said, no, but I'm garnering from you. I said, no, I'm garnering from you. I said, number one, you've already scaled this wall that most of us want to reach in academia because you're an engineer and a scientist. You work for NASA. You also work for our government. I said, but personally, by you being 80-something years of age, you embarked upon something that somebody told you would not happen. So I am honored that I have been entrusted with your gift. And the gift is he decided to write about his life story and all of the craziness and the women and the mistakes that he's made and how he wants to heal people who are going through relationships. So quickly, I'll say this. It reminded me, thank you, Ronnie, I just need to be present continuously so that I can hear and that I can help people along the way, as well as myself, to be at my best so that I'm in sync with the timing that the universe has allotted to me. So this is what I've gotten from this.
Very cool. Wow.
That was
wow.
right. Wow.
I kid you not. Listen, I'll just say this. This guy had four women on the same date night. And I said, how did you pull that off? And he said to me, he said, Janice, it was almost successful until one of them got hungry. And I was like, are you serious? He said, Janice, I had to sit down with one. He says, you have to understand, aside from the scientist, he says, I love to dance, so I teach dance. And all of them were my students. He says, but what I learned was I was deceiving them. And it was all because somebody got hungry. That blew my cover. But anyway, that's a side story. But just to share in his life at this age that he entrusted us with his story, I'm humbled. I'm just humbled by that. I really am. And as well as with Ronnie, I don't agree with him, and I realize we're getting ratings. I don't agree with him on 99.8% of the stuff, but at least a 0.5, he's right. And I give you that you're right 1.5% of the time, Ronnie.
Well, thank you for sharing that one as well, Diva Janice. Well, if there's nothing else, Diva Robin, over to you.
Let's check and see. Did Diva Nakia was working on her technology? Did you come on back, Diva Nakia?
I'm here. However, my
There she
concern
is.
is I hear an echo still, so I was trying to see if it was my technology.
Just go ahead.
Okay, so can you repeat the question because I was concerned about the echo, but I heard everything that was being present.
Well, was there anything you wanted to share from the email?
No, you know what? I'll pass on this. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We got it. Okay, you got a little bit of background though, so you're gonna have to mute. Come on.
I got you.
Diva Nikki, back to you.
Actually, Diva Robin, over to you.
All right, I will take it away. Thank you so much, Diva Nikki. All right, so here's an email from Giselle Klosky of Minneapolis, Minnesota. You ladies lifted a weight off my shoulders. I didn't know how much my conversations about my employees were creating a world where they were never going to be good enough. Wow. I justified my bad behavior and management as simply them listening to me from the stereotypical image of a professional woman. Of course, that filter was also there when it came to romance, which has been seriously lacking, non existent. After listening to the webinar, I decided to take responsibility for how others heard me instead of making them wrong because my occurring world says they are putting me in a stereotypical box. Tuesday, one of my top managers was in the office. I asked him what was the most difficult part about working for me. He said, "Well, honestly, when you think you're being critical because you are a woman, while we are trying to take some of the workload off your plate to show you what we can do. You are great to work for, but you're overburdened and you just won't let us help you." I was floored by what he said, and I could hear Diva Robin whispering in my ear about owning the listening of others. Over the next 2 weeks, I am doing a listening tour with my employees to see what I don't know I don't know. By the way, I got a call from a man I met a few months ago who asked if I was single and would I go out to dinner with him. I don't know how or why that happened. I do know that I will be listening to next Sunday. This course is getting good. Thanks, Robin and the Divas. Wow, that's me saying wow. Thank you, Giselle. Divas, who will share first? Anything that you saw or that was sparked for you by the email that Giselle sent us?
Well, this is Janice. As a business owner, I would say I thank God for the people who work with me and for me, and they often remind me I need to get out of the way. And it's good when you have people who can tell you, you just need to get out of the way. We're here for you. We're here for the long haul. We appreciate that you appreciate us and that you notice us, which is important. We just need you to allow us to contribute while we're here. That's what I get out of that.
Got it. That's great. How about Divas Nikki and Nakia?
Diva Nikki here. I like that she is taking responsibility for what others are hearing.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant.
And
How
then
about
say
you?
that she's going to go on a listening tour.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty interesting. Like, she's being very intentional about not just taking responsibility, but where she's already working on her breakthrough, like where she can make a difference.
Yeah.
Something else that I heard,
Yes.
and it's I'll put it like this. If you know you're doing damage, then usually, or I'll say once you're alerted that you're doing some damage, you do something about it. Like you're not planning on, let me go out and do damage to my own business and employees. And what I liked was what got me was that she was able to see that her role in this conversation and take ownership of, like she said, I could hear Diva Robin whispering, I could hear her whispering, which means that, I get that what I'm saying is right, but it doesn't matter if it's landing over there as me making them wrong.
Yeah. Well said.
So and how she said that she justified, and that's what we do, we justify, and that filter stays in, but we got something later on that we'll talk about justifying stuff, but that's what's real for me at the moment.
Yeah, well said. Thank you so much, Ronnie B. How about you, Diva Nakia?
Okay, she'll be back.
Well, I have something to add to it. And just to underline that I was so inspired by this email, and I want to underline the courage that it took for Giselle to go to her employees and saying, what's the most difficult part? It's so easy to say, what do you like about working for me? It's not so easy to say, what don't you like? What's difficult? And then take it on and really use it and then make it a practice. I think that takes an enormous amount of courage, and I applaud that. Can you all hear me?
We were just listening.
Oh, okay. Sometimes I couldn't tell if I got cut off. Ah!
Yeah, we were just
That is so funny. Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for listening, and thank you, Giselle, and thank everyone for sharing. So, over to Diva Janice.
Why, thank you, Diva Robin. Okay, we have this wonderful commentary from Mandy Nugent. I hope I'm saying your name correctly, from Atlanta. And she writes,
Nguyen.
That's Nguyen.
Nguyen? Thank you very much.
Vietnamese name.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. Thank you for the correction. From Atlanta. And she writes, Diva Janice, God bless you for saving my marriage. Oh, isn't that beautiful? I did your assignment for finding out why or what was missing when it came to sex in intimacy and found out it wasn't about my husband's fault. Divas, there is an old saying, assume, make an ass out of you and me. Wow. From the exercise, I saw that all I do is assume and then justify my assumptions, which simply pisses people off. I assume my husband should create my world of sexual satisfaction and intimacy, but I had or have no responsibility in giving him a clue what that is because I assume he should automatically know. Wow. So I assumed he just doesn't care and the thrill was gone. So many do that. And what I would say is, maybe he's screwing around with another woman. Sometimes that comes into play. Sometimes that's just a figment of imagination. I thought he was fooling around with another woman. I would assume if you're not getting it at home, you're getting it somewhere else. Not that he could be struggling, trying to figure out what your needs are, but I just assumed. But when you told us to look at what was missing, that if present, sex and intimacy would be restored, the light bulb went off. I'm going to say amen to that. Excellent. So, years ago, I made this nice romantic dinner, and she's sharing, for my husband with plans for some hot action afterwards. He didn't show up, and I was pissed to say the least. His plane was delayed, and he wasn't getting in until 4 a.m. Of course, she didn't believe that. I was still mad at him. I remember saying specifically to him, well, I would assume if you really wanted to be here, you would have arranged an earlier flight. That was when it started occurring, or should I say, our occurring world going downhill. And perhaps it was just a matter of perception. That insight changed everything. I realized I needed to stop assuming my husband knew how much I loved him and started speaking my love to him so there would be no doubt. Oh, girl, I love you. It's about communicating. I also knew I needed to ask him to forgive me for always assuming and for ignoring the strain that I had been putting on our marriage, the external excess, I call it. Listen, my husband and I talked, and just like the song at times, oh, I love this, and we just cried together. Oh, I think that's a song from the 70s, and we cried together, but we got it all out. God bless you. My husband told me if we had to walk through hot coals, he would carry a lot of water. Oh, he's a great guy. If I was on the other side. Oh, wow. Then he said he would cheat and wear protective boots. Oh, that's such a guy. They always have a backup plan. Sometimes we ladies, we don't know that this is the way they think. But let me read this again. Then he said he would cheat and wear protective boots, but no matter what, he would find a way to get to me. Once again, we laughed and cried that night. And the next, I realized what you meant by a breakthrough in sex and intimacy. We broke through. Janice, we deserve each other. Bless you and the Divas. This is so encouraging. Thank you, Mandy. I love this. Ladies, Ronnie, this is just heartfelt. This is beautiful. Thank you, Mandy. And I'm going to open up. Would anyone like to share and comment? Ladies?
I think, this is Diva Nikki chiming in again, I think that it was very awesome of Mandy to own up to the assumption of her husband cheating because he wasn't getting it from home.
Okay, anyone else?
Anything else, Nikki? Okay, I guess that's it.
But you know what?
But one thing I did.
Okay, go ahead, Ronnie.
One thing I did here, and just really didn't want to step over it. Did you notice how many times she said assume? She also said, I'm saying that rhetorically, and how many, but really, really get that, and how in every line she would start taking ownership that was the filter things were going through. And see, the thing is that you can have the knowledge, but if it doesn't make a difference, then it's just information. But she was able to actually see it. Like, wow, I assume it ain't just her husband. Believe me, it is not just her relationship with her husband. Because if you assuming that, like she said, I saw that all I do is assume and then justify which simply pisses people off. So she doing it at work. Can you imagine her boss is going, this woman, or her kids, are going, Mama, you always assume. And you know what? They something that Diva Robbins said earlier, that when she went and she shared with her friends, and they were like, "Yeah, we know that." But but again, and Mandy, it does take a lot of courage, because the thing is, a lot of us are smart rats, and what I say about smart rats, we know, and then we make assumptions. And as we say, we are not trying to get people to agree. We're trying to get you to do the work. Do the work and call it whatever you want to. Make the list. Do the exercises. Call it whatever you want to do. Say it's, but do the work. Because when you do the work, you get the results. So that's what I like to share.
Yeah. This is
It's
Robin,
really Yes, go ahead, Robin.
Yeah. I just had this funny thought that, in a way, communication is the opposite of assuming. Because when she recognized that she was making assumptions, what there was to do was to communicate. So so I guess you could say communication is the remedy for assuming. Once she got into communication with her husband, and imagine what her life is going to be like that when she does that with the other people in her life as well. I just wanted to underscore that what she did about assuming was got into communication with the actual people who can speak for themselves much better than what she was imagining and assuming.
Well, this is, listen, I can agree with you more. Plus, it takes out, well, I shouldn't say it takes out. It just demolishes all of the negativity that so many people spend on thinking what other people are thinking. And because you didn't have the conversation, you didn't know what they were thinking. So it eliminated the dead space, if you will, and brought in conscious maturity. Because in order for you to have any kind of effective relationship, be it in business, personally with your girlfriends, your boyfriend, your parents, your siblings, you got to talk to people. This is the way we were designed by God. You got to have a conversation. And when we avoid having those conversations, it further perpetuates avoidant personality disorders. It's something that we just hide behind. And God knows social media has caused a cancer in this area without going too far into this. But we just need to own up to where we are and how we feel. And when we need to say we're sorry, I just need to say, listen, I love you enough to say I was wrong. I want to get this right, because what we have together is so much greater than what we would have apart. And that's the way I feel about it. And I just think it's awesome. Absolutely awesome. And before we go to a break, I'm going to take another moment and ask if there is more input.
Okay, we haven't heard from Diva Nakia, so go ahead and get us on.
All right. Well, we will keep it moving. We will keep it moving. It's approximately 6:48, and we're going to take a 5-minute break. So we'll be back at 6:53. So take us away.
And that's Eastern time.
Thank you. We are on
gotta let them know what time zone they.
Well, okay. I keep forgetting that we're all in different time zones. I'm in Eastern Standard Time. Thank you. Some are in Central. I don't know if we have any on Pacific, but however, we'll be back at 6:53 Eastern Standard Time. Thank you. All right.
Adjust your own clock.
In the now. Right now is the time frame in which I live. The past is behind me. The future is ahead. So my focus is best served by living in the now. Moment by moment, hour by hour.
I have to clean that area.
Awakened by our own divine nature, I give my attention to family and lovers.
No, it's
why
not so
put off until tomorrow the joy that today offers?
Yeah, baby,
now is the time to be creative.
No.
Now is the time to explore and discover what I can do with talents and abilities. Now is the time to use the divine power of my imagination. Living in the now does not constrict me. Rather, it is a time of growth and understanding that is available to me in the present. Right now is the time frame in which I live. But the hour is coming and is now here when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. For the Father seeks such as these to worship him. John 4:23.
Here's a little into love will bring us all together. Sometimes we travel light, sometimes we can't abide for a destination seems a long way from home, but that is alright. Alright, when you get to love somebody. Spread a little good love from it, baby, yeah. Alright, someone's gonna show you love someday. I'll give a little something for ya. I wanna know, I wanna have good loving. I wanna touch you, I wanna feel good loving. Ooh, yeah, good loving. I wanna have you and me. Got to have it. Do it, hurry up, way. Love it. I wanna know, I wanna have spending a lifetime trying to get ahead of life, working so hard, building castles to prove us upright. Hey, but don't you forget we've got to live for today. Just look around and see what you've been missing. Alright, when you get to love somebody, it will be so nice to love somebody. Yeah. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright. Show you love someday. You know that love can turn it around. Hey, good love. I wanna start to feel for you and me. Just do I wanna touch you, I wanna feel good loving. Hey. Take it from the to it like Sunday, I see a better all I need is I wanna touch, I wanna feel good loving, yeah. Give me that face back. I wanna know, ooh, good loving. I wanna touch, ooh, yeah. I wanna we've got to have it. Oh, yeah.
Well, welcome back. Welcome back to the next part of our webinar tonight, The Occurring World of Breakthroughs. I do need to make an announcement to the production team that I'm having issues with texting. So whatever message you tried to send me, unless it was about that big bag of money, it's we're going to have to wait on it. All right. But you will not have to wait. You, our participants, will not have to wait on the occurring world of breakthroughs. Diva, Robin.
Hi, thank you so much. So I just have to say, I love the material we're doing tonight, even though I can't say it. So, the occurring world of breakthroughs. Earlier, we asked you to start the inquiry with a few questions. What is a breakthrough? What would a breakthrough look like? Here's my favorite. What is the difference between a great result and a breakthrough result? What would a breakthrough look like in the areas of love, romance, and partnership? Is it something tangible or attainable, or simply an interpretation? Would I know a breakthrough if it slapped me in the face twice? So when we say breakthrough, we're looking at it from the context of a scientist distinct from science. Make sure you're clear what I just said. We're looking at breakthrough from the context or at the way a scientist would look at breakthroughs. So a scientist does the experimenting. The science is what the experimenting is about. We focus on doing the experimenting, not the science behind the experiment. In other words, the experience, not the concept. There is one guy on the beach telling you the science of swimming. Well, these are the mechanics. This is what your deltoid muscle does. This is what your elbow is doing. And there's another guy in the water swimming. Who do you want to teach you to swim? Right? Of course, the one who's in the water swimming, I would think. So that's how we're approaching it, like the man in the water swimming. Mr. Webster says breakthrough is, noun, a sudden, dramatic, and important discovery or development. Fortunately, we have our own scientist amongst the divas who can share her perspective on breakthroughs as a scientist of the mind. Diva Janice, will you please share what you're present to in the conversation?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for asking. To simplify it, because we can inundate ourselves with information, but really a breakthrough in its simplified form is who you become as a result of what you go through. And we're all evolving in life. I don't care where you are in your academic studies or where you fall in terms of your financial status in life. Who you were designed to be and created to be, I should say created to be, is more accurate, will manifest based upon every stage that you process in life. So scientifically, breakthroughs for most people, where you garner what it is that you process, it's who you identify with. What have you become? You should be getting better at living in every phase of your life, no matter if you've been betrayed, if people have misused your kindness, if you have misused and betrayed other people. At the end of the day, the breakthrough in life should be for you, I learned from that process. So if you're not learning to be better, then you're regressing. And if you're not progressing, then you have not had a breakthrough. I'll simplify it as that.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. So, last session, we had an inquiry about knowing and breakthroughs. So I'm going to do a quick review with you of that. So look at the circle on the screen and imagine that the circle represents all knowledge that could ever be acquired. Anything that can or will be known is represented in that circle, which is slide 7. Looking at the circle of all knowledge, how much of that knowledge do you think you have? Yeah, the circle of all knowledge, if you really all knowledge, it wouldn't even be a dot, right? It would be so tiny you couldn't see it. I know that's true for me. What I do know is that I don't know much compared to all that's possible. So for our demonstration, we're going to look at it this way. We're going to split the circle in half. And on one half, we are labeling it as don't know, DK, don't know. And the other half, we're labeling it as K for what we know. which is slide 8. Pretty much in life, we look to add from what we don't know and add that on to what we do know. So it goes from don't know to know. So the goal that we mostly have is make the know circle larger and the don't know circle smaller, or half circle, excuse me. So we know what we know. When we discover there's something we don't know, we generally work to add it to what we know. Or we can say, no, that's not something I ever want to know. It's okay. I'm fine with not knowing that. So that's pretty simple, right? On slide 9, I am going to make it really clear. I do not know the language Portuguese. And I know that I don't know the language Portuguese. So from knowing that I don't know it, I can either choose to learn Portuguese or choose not to learn Portuguese. But it's very clear that there it is. I don't know it. I have a choice. So I am going to propose that in the circle of knowledge, there is something hidden. Na, na, na. As in slide number 10, looking at the circle, you now see that we added another slice labeled DK, which stands for what you don't know, you don't know. And that is where the breakthroughs happen. So if going back to learning Portuguese, I could learn Portuguese. But knowing that I don't know Portuguese and then learning Portuguese, that's learning something, but it's not a breakthrough. But where breakthrough happens is when I discover something that I didn't know that I didn't know. And that opens up something where the possibility of a breakthrough can happen. The conversations in our courses are designed to give you power in accessing and having breakthrough results. Breakthrough results. Not a little bit at a time, but breakthrough results. Like the people who sent in emails to us, they had breakthrough results. Mr. Webster says breakthrough, noun, a sudden, dramatic, and important discovery or development. It doesn't say learn something that I was getting ready to learn anyway, right? It's sudden, dramatic, and important. Two of the conversations we have that provide an access to a sudden, dramatic, and important discovery or development are that you don't know what you don't know and the occurring world. We often confuse a great result with a breakthrough, or we don't even recognize or acknowledge a real breakthrough because it doesn't look or feel like some preconceived notion of what a breakthrough in that area would be. So, in other words, often what happens isn't what we expected, so we don't even notice that it's a breakthrough. I expected this, I got that instead. Oops, didn't notice the breakthrough. So we can have a great result that is a breakthrough, yet the result in and of itself is not the breakthrough. I'm going to say that again. We can have a great result that is a breakthrough, yet the result in and of itself is not the breakthrough. So what am I talking about? The breakthrough is in who you are being that produced the great or breakthrough result. I'm going to say that again. The breakthrough is in who you are being that produced the great or breakthrough result. A breakthrough result permanently alters the occurring world and who you are being at a fundamental level. Think of the man who wrote in about his daughter. He became someone new with his daughter. It wasn't just what he said to her. It was who he was being. And he was permanently altered. A breakthrough result is distinct from an accidental result or result you gain through perseverance and faith. I'm going to say that again, too. A breakthrough result is distinct from an accidental result or a result you gain through perseverance and faith. A breakthrough result is not predictable. Hey, that's what makes it a breakthrough. And there are tools that give you power in causing unpredictable results as an intention that empowers you in living wealthy. Unpredictable results. Many of us love to continually learn and expand, so it tends to look like all our results are simply on a continuum of these efforts. That makes them predictable. I assert we have had breakthrough results, and we forget what happened and that specific breakthrough result after it happens. This is because we have altered ourselves. We have altered ourselves, and then the altered us has become the new normal. Breakthrough, wow. Now we have more available in life. Oh yeah, did I have a breakthrough? I don't remember. All I know is I'm a person that was different from before, but I forget because I'm the new person. I am going to introduce a new conversation. Moments of truth. We have all had moments of truth. And in each of those moments, a sudden, dramatic, and important discovery or development occurred. In other words, we had a breakthrough. Sometimes what happened did not appear like a romantic fantasy of what that breakthrough would look like. It might have even been something you would like to forget. Yeah, like I wasn't thrilled to find out I was know-it-all. Guess what? Yet it was the source of a breakthrough. Yeah, so I had the intimacy. I had a painful discovery that ended up with my having what I really, really wanted. So something that you would like to forget can be the source of a breakthrough that took who you were being to a higher level, and your ability to have exceeded your expectations. There is always a specific time, place, and set of events that form the context or set the stage for the breakthrough to occur. There was before the breakthrough, then boom, after the breakthrough. Jonathan shifted his listening for his daughter from I already know to listening from I don't know. I want to listen and find out. That was a sudden, dramatic, and important discovery or development, a breakthrough. And there is a specific time, place, and set of events that formed the context. Ronnie B. and I are going to share a moment of truth and the breakthrough. Ronnie B.
You know,
Can you tell I love this? I love this material. It's like the key to the kingdom.
Moments of truth.
Moments of truth, Ronnie B.
Yeah, the moment of truth. And, you know, it's interesting because something happened today that was actually a moment of truth. And but I'm gonna share this. Okay, years ago, I was doing some work in the world of transformation, and I had just spent 2 weekends back to back in producing courses that were like an intensive that went from like 8 a.m. in the morning until after midnight for 4 nights. and then there was a Tuesday evening. So they were like 2 long weeks of intensive training, working with people, and so here it is. That's happened, and I'm now to my weekend where I can just relax and enjoy myself. Now, one of the ways that I like to relax and enjoy myself, at that time, was to go out and tend to my flowers. I like to go out and water the little flowers and pick all the little debris out and just be me, the universe, the divine. And this was one of those days because after those 2 courses and all the miracles that occurred, I just wanted to be one with all, one with the spirit. I just wanted to be, and so I'm there in the sun, and it's just like, at that point, could I get any closer to God without having to go to heaven? Because I am one with the universe, and I noticed that there was someone that was in my world, of the divine and being with the one and all. And I was trying to shrug it off. And what it was a kid. And the kid was probably maybe about early teens. And what I noticed was the kid was walking up and down the street, going back and forth. And part of me was like, look, kid, I am one with the universe right now, with the all and the, and in grace. Don't, come in my zone and mess that up. Well, sure enough, the kid comes in my zone. And I'm like, okay, well, how can I help you? And the kid is, well, sir, I'm not really feeling well. I was wondering if you could give me some medicine. And I'm like, oh, son, I hate that you're feeling well, but I can't do that. As an adult, I can't be giving you medicine. That is, I'm not a doctor or anything. I can't do that. So he started to walk away, and he said, well, sir, can I speak with you? And I was like, come on. In my mind, I'm like, look, I'm one with the universe, my flowers, my, the spirit, and, and I'm like, really what I want to say is scram, kid. And, but I didn't do that. So, I'm like, okay, well, how may I help? And, and at that moment, I started to, kind of get present to the kid. And, well, I should say the young man. And he says, well, can I talk to you a little bit, sir? I said, okay, all right, go ahead. He says, well, sir, I'm really kind of concerned about me and my sister because my mother's getting married today. And I'm like, oh, and so I'm like, oh, okay, I got it. Hey, your mother's getting married. This is what I'm telling myself. Your mother's getting married, and you kind of know, where you in the door, your sister gonna fit in with this new man. And I'm all ready to give my spiel to tell him. And so I'm like, well, hey, son, it'll all work out. I'm sure that you'll learn to adjust, to the guy, and and again, because really I'm trying to get you out of my space. And he says, well, sir, my mother is not marrying a man; she's marrying another woman. Now, this was, like I said, years ago, and there was a certain consciousness for, I'll say, LGBT that wasn't the consciousness back those several years. And also to give a little context, the neighborhood I lived in Houston, there was a church around the corner whose congregation was the largest LGBT community in the Houston area. So I could kind of get him saying that, but he actually said that my mother is marrying another woman. And I'm like, my God, what am I going to say to him? His mother is marrying another woman. And I'm like, God, I don't, I was happy with my flowers and the sun. And
Yeah.
so I so I'm so I look, and before I could say anything, the truth came out my mouth. And the truth was, I got it. You and your sister, what you're worried about is you and your sister are going to be the kids whose mama is married to another woman. And you're looking at when you go to school and your sister go to school, who you obviously care about, you're going, we going to be the kids who all the other kids are going to go, well, see, your mother is married to another woman, with all that comes to that. And I said, and it's terrifying, isn't it? It is, because the truth is, your mother really is marrying a woman. She really is doing that. And you think it's all about you. You think it's all about you. And you forgot that your mother loves you. And she loves your sister. And she loves y'all. And she has to do what's right for her and her heart. Now, it ain't for us to do. She got to do this for what's right for her. And she knows that she's going to be the mother whose children are going to have to go to school and deal with your mother married a woman. And she got to do what's right in her heart. And you forgot that your mother needs you. And there was a moment of silence. And that kid, his whole face brightened up. He said, my mother needs me. I said, man, come on, think about it. Right now, she's preparing to get married, and she's worried that, God, what is it? My kids? Y'all are her kids. She really does need me, sir. She needs you. And like I said, it was like life got breathed into him. And he said, and he just kept saying, my mother needs me. I said, yeah, she needs you. She needs your sister. She needs you right now. And he was like, my mother needs me. And he just said, well, thank you, mister. And I said, well, hey, go. And, and I said something else after that. I don't really remember. But that was a moment of truth. Because see, for who I say I am, there is no right or wrong. For who I say I am. And I'm not playing with the words. God's love knows no boundary.
Amen.
Now, I just work to do my best to love. And I'll deal with my personal opinions and morality and all that other stuff later. And that altered everything. Everything. That was a huge, it may have been a breakthrough for the kid, but it was a breakthrough for me and who I would be for people. And if there's one thing, I kind of say it jokingly to people, is that I would just love you. So you may disagree with 99.5% of what I say, and I will love you. My love is greater than opinion, knowledge, or information. So that's what I got.
Wow. Whew. Ronnie B., what you just shared makes a whole seminar all by itself. Thank you. Let me check in with
Diva Robbie. Well, no, actually, we're not checking in with the Diva. Well, actually,
and say that again.
You get to share a moment of truth or not.
Yeah, I can, but I'll tell you, after what you shared, I'm so present to that. Wow. So here's what I want to share. It's a completely different domain of life, and it has to do with the fact that that I'm an artist. And um when I was getting my master's in fine art, I was working on this giant project. It was an installation for women, and I was at the same time also participating in a course that was challenging me to really grow and develop at a rapid rate. And I was having discoveries all the time. And I was working on this one charcoal that's it was 30 inches wide and 50 inches long on paper, and very detailed, um and of a woman. And I had gotten it, and I have to say, I've been drawing. I've been an artist all my life, and I draw really well. And I was working on this piece that really meant something to me. And I got to this point where I was looking at this piece, and I was saying, "Oh, wow. Well, that's good enough." And I actually heard the thought. Sometimes you have a thought, and you have the thought
Mm.
lots of times, but you don't notice it. Well, I noticed it. I noticed the thought, "Oh, that's good enough." And I saw that was where I stopped. And I saw it, and it was so I looked at the work again, and I asked myself, what could I do to make it better? Instead of getting by with my skill, with what I like, oh yeah, that's good, it's good enough. Like what are the little, like the tiny details? What are the little aspects of it? What can I do to make it not just good enough? And I actually, and throughout that entire and it altered my relationship with my art, where I don't stop until I can't find one thing that I would change. If that it's not like, God, that's pretty good. It's more like, okay, wait, what's going to have it go like beyond, beyond. And not only did it alter my relationship with the art that I make, but it altered my relationship with everything, because I started to look around in my life after that, all the places where that's good enough, that's good enough, that's good enough, where that would come up in communication with the people I loved. It was a whole theme that permeated my life, and I didn't know it until I stood in front of that piece, that charcoal, and noticed that I had this thought, that's good enough, and bought it. And then I stopped buying it. I stopped buying that it's good and that's good enough was it.
Wow.
So that
really...
was my moment of truth that I wanted to share.
Wow. Oh God, and I could just see the mischief with good enough. Oh,
Yeah.
I could imagine the mischief that was going on in areas that had nothing to do with art. That good enough. Oh, was biting you in the pantyhose.
In the pantyhose, huh? The things that come out of your mouth. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it really was. And it was and just like we were saying, it was not a particularly fun thing to see. I wasn't thrilled to see that I stopped with, oh, that's good enough, and then would just dismiss things and people and other endeavors, everything. It was not a fun moment, and it transformed my life. It was a breakthrough.
And one thing I want to just add in before you invite the divas to share. Some of you think that it's good enough to get an insight.
Oh, good one.
Some of you think it's good enough. It's good enough. I got an insight. So I'm not going to elaborate, but some of you think that it's good enough that I got an insight.
Yeah.
Carry on, Diva Robin.
That speaks volumes. So let me check in with the divas. What is present for you in the moment of truth inquiry? Who wants to share next?
Well, this is Janice, and I would say a truth that is not applied science doesn't serve anyone. So in all of our acknowledgments and insightfulness, no matter what we gain, if we can't apply it to become better at living is irrelevant. So we can forever discover, but if what we discover and learn is not applicable so that it is implemented in the day-to-day regimen at some level, be it through consideration, forgiveness, there has to be a tangible application. Otherwise, it just serves as information that we've garnered. And I believe very firmly, I sit with some I sit with some very smart people, and I look at them every day, and I think, God, at some point,
no, don't get in trouble, Janice.
No, I'm serious. And they know I feel this way. I promise you, they know I can't pretend. I'm not a pretentious person at all. I can't hide that because I care about myself. I care about the people that I engage with, and I don't seek out to make people feel bad. I love inspiring. And that was our conversation today with one of our guys who's 85 years old. He looks like he's 60, and we're all envious. It's like, dude, if we could look like you when we turn 85, are you kidding me? I'm not complaining about anything. Do I have my right mind? A little bit of money so I can buy stuff that's broken and repair it? That's my truth. But I got to be able to apply what I'm learning. Otherwise, it's just more stuff.
Yeah,
more
put
stuff.
it in action.
Can I give it to somebody? Even if it's not for me, can I give what I've garnered to help somebody else? So if we're not in a position as conduits, we stop the flow, whether we realize it or not, because whatever God can give to you and get through you, he's going to give more. And we're all looking for the more in life. Well, and it comes through being, and I'll leave it with this, it comes through being, number one, present, loving, sharing, caring enough to be honest and not be deceitful. Don't give what we know is going to hurt somebody, but give to our neighbor the way we want them to give to us. Now, that's what's present for me in this conversation.
That's great. Thank you so much, Janice.
I thought I heard Diva Nikki's little voice. Yeah. Oh.
Are you there, Diva Nikki? Do you want to share something?
What's present to me, yes, by the way, and thank you all. What's present to me is that it's not all about us. And when I listen to Ronnie share that story, by the way, every time I hear that story, I swear I hear it differently every single time. But what really became present to me is that it's not all about us. It's not all about me. It's not all about you or that next person. And sometimes some of the things that we are harboring or and bantering over with ourselves is something that that affects us, but we've taken on something that wasn't about us. And because it wasn't about us and we made it about us, we can't be who we need to be for the other person that it actually is about.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you. Beautifully,
You,
beautifully expressed.
mm. You know, Diva Robin, you know, it's interesting that, and we say it right up in front, that all we're doing is having a conversation. I mean, really, we're putting words and sentences together and having a conversation.
Mhm.
And um, and it's not a complicated conversation. And I'll assert that people like complication. Let me make this as complicated as I can so
Hmm.
that I will not take responsibility for my own power.
Mm.
There is no thing that happens in your universe that is not a result, some way, some form of your intention. Now, you may not get that that's what you did, but it is a result of your intention. And now the great part is that it will all be all right. The universe has a natural way of setting things in balance. So you will be all right.
Mm.
Rest assured you are taken care of.
Mm.
Mm-mm-mm.
Okay. So is Diva Nakia still behind technical nonsense, or is she maybe available now? Do we know?
Yep, sounds like she's not available yet. So
Aw. Okay,
take
well
us.
then, yeah. Well, usually at this point we have an exercise, but tonight we simply want you to keep engaging in the inquiries we've been having up until now. On the other side of the break, we are going to be addressing complaints, the barriers to
Mm,
love and partnership. Complaints.
complaints.
Ah, take a break, and then we're going to go on. Then we're going to hit complaints. So this will be a 5-minute break. Please return at 6:37 Central Time.
Take action. Don't let your doubts stop you from taking action. Don't let your hopes become a substitute for action. There's one sure strategy to determine the best way forward. Take action. Take action, and you'll find out soon enough what works and what doesn't. Take action. And with each experience, you get better at it. You can guess, plan, speculate, and argue over what's the best approach, or you can take action and find out for sure. Your doubts may be valid, or they may be completely unfounded. Your hopes may be pure fantasy, or they may point you towards the best thing you've ever done. You owe it to yourself to find out once and for all. You owe it to yourself, to the world, to take action.
May I have your attention, please? Here's something I want to share with y'all, and it goes like this. What I'm about to say is that there's a higher power and the force of nature that is leading our lives. I feel this drive inside of me to find about the truth that finally sets me free, and that's from the place I long to be. There's nothing will stop me from where I wanna be. Into the gravity, just wanna be in touch with my spiritual side. Into the gravity, I'm walking by faith and not by sight. Into the gravity,
into the gravity. Just wanna be in touch from my spiritual side into the gravity. And I'm walking by faith and not by sight into the gravity. So go ahead and get your yourself out of your head now. Sometimes you gotta let it go to let it flow. Prince of Peace, I thank you for today and life. It's about taking a chance. Tomorrow, where do we stand? There is no looking back, which make up your mind, go walk with the stride. This world is just so cold. The future's so unfold. Make up new reality, no matter where I choose to go. It always brings me back to the place, and it reminds me I'm not alone. Into the gravity, just wanna be in the spiritual side. Into the gravity, I'm walking by faith and not by sight. Into the gravity, so go ahead and get yourself out of your head now. Sometimes you gotta let it go to let it flow. Into the gravity, wanna be in touch from the spiritual side. Into the gravity, and I'm walking by faith and not by sight. Into the gravity, so go ahead and get yourself out of your head now. Sometimes you gotta let it go to let it flow. I know there's so much more to it than just living in the ordinary. I feel this gravity keeps pulling me from the to the sky. I know there's so much more to it than just living in the ordinary life. I feel this gravity keeps pulling me from the to the sky. I know there's so much more to it than just living in the ordinary life. I feel this gravity. I know there's so much
Welcome back to the gravity. And the gravity that we are moving forward to is one that has Diva Nakia. Actually, Diva Nikki. Got my ends mixed up here. Diva Nikki.
All right, all right, all right. So, we are here with complaints, the barriers to love, romance, and partnership. The nature of persistent complaints. So, during this segment, we're going to look at the nature of a complaint, what's behind the complaint, what you get from holding on to a complaint. Have you ever noticed how the presence of love, romance, and partnership is lacking or not at all present when you have complaints in those areas? Let's inquire. Do you have complaints, or do your complaints have you? There are times we have complaints in the areas of love, romance, and partnership. And there are times we acknowledge those complaints either verbally or by our actions. Then there are other times through innuendo or lack of action, we acknowledge and empower those complaints, or we dismiss any idea we even have a complaint in those areas. Either way, these complaints can be debilitating and become barriers to our desires being fulfilled powerfully in the areas of love, romance, and partnership. Our complaints are not created equally. We're going to examine have an inquiry about a specific type of complaint, and that is complaints that don't disappear. These are the complaints you may or may not give voice to, but you know in your heart of hearts they exist, and they have existed for quite some time. We have an exercise. I know you probably thought you was going to get away without an exercise. Surprise. So, create these categories: love, romance, and that's right, partnership. Under each category, write what have you been putting up with, trying to change or fix, pretending is okay. We're going to continue this inquiry as you work on your list. Why don't these complaints disappear? Let's take a look at this.
Diva Nikki, before we take a look, and why they're inquiring into why don't these complaints disappear, I'm just going to interject something about the nature of a conversation is for it to disappear. And the way you keep a conversation alive is to keep having that conversation. But a conversation in itself, the nature is for it to disappear. You speak to your mother, how you doing, Mom? Hope you have a great day. Oh, you're doing fine. You hang up the phone. Well, that conversation doesn't keep going. It ends, it disappears. Complaints are conversations. And if they don't disappear, we're going to let Diva Nikki say some more stuff about that.
Love that.
Well, if they don't disappear, we're going to talk about the payoff. So if you're holding on to something, I am right, others are wrong. I can justify my actions and invalidate your actions or the actions of others. I can dominate the conversation and not have to hear the other side or avoid being dominated and having to listen to another's point of view. Avoid responsibility. When we're being right about our complaints, we get a payoff. What are the payoffs you're getting from holding on to your complaints? We are getting a payoff, but at what price? Cost. Take a look at slide 15. Health/vitality. Love/joy. Freedom/power. Full self-expression. What are the costs of these complaints? The biggest payoff from having a consistent complaint is avoiding responsibility. Loved
Diva
ones,
Nikki,
co-workers. Yes.
Diva Nikki, before you go on, just want to interject this. Now, think about it for a second. Have you ever noticed that if you're complaining about let's say your mother, sister, spouse, whatever, that love is not present, and there's not a lot of joy there when that complaint is running, and ultimately you're a victim of the circumstances, which is, as they say, the biggest payoff is that you get to avoid responsibility. The other side of avoiding responsibility is that you get to be a victim. You're at the mercy of the circumstance. But, Diva Nikki, carry on.
Loved ones, co-workers, and others will give you pragmatic and practical ways to resolve the complaint. And you will poke holes in every suggestion or simply not follow through until the cost is greater than the payoff. So, I have a little treat for you. Ronnie B is going to share how to catch A monkey. Ronnie B?
All right. First off, now some of you may know how to catch a monkey, so don't rattle it off to the person. Well, this is how how you catch a monkey. Don't do that. Keep it. Because I know Diva Robin, you know how to catch a monkey, right?
Sorry, yes, I certainly do.
Oh yeah, I knew Diva Robin knows how to catch a monkey, and Diva Janice,
I'm
you know
not
how to
going to
catch
give
a
it
monkey.
away.
Okay, Diva Janice is not going to give it away. Diva Robin's not going to give. Diva Janice, you know how to catch a monkey.
And more than one way, Ronnie.
She's got multiple ways to catch a monkey. Okay,
Yeah.
now I'm just going to say something that there's one thing about human nature is we like to be right. We love to be right. We like to be right. Oh, being right. Because we don't want to be wrong. Don't want to be wrong. We love being right. We love being right. Now, what happens is that sometimes things don't line up. So that's when we start having complaints because we don't want to be wrong. So we want to let them be wrong, because I want to be right. Well, here's how you catch a monkey. Now, this is what they do. They go over to where the monkeys live, and they put out a box. And inside the box, there's a hole that you can, the monkeys can walk by and they can see through the hole. And what they have inside the box is a banana, a big, sweet, juicy banana, nice and fat, big, juicy banana. And they have it, tied inside so that, the banana is there inside the box. So what happens is that the monkey goes by and the monkey looks and he goes, wow, a banana. I want that banana. And so he puts his hand in to grab the banana. Now, it has been rigged so that the more you grab the banana, the more the banana has you. And so the monkey, I'm going to get this banana. And it keeps holding on to it. Well, eventually they come by and go, pop, hit the little monkey on his head, throw him in the basket, and he's captured. Yay, we got the monkey. So the monkeys, they go, oh, there go the banana, and then pop, the monkey gets bopped on the head, thrown in the cage. Now the monkey's been captured. Now, occasionally there's a monkey who looks, puts his hand in, he's, oh, give me this banana. And the banana won't, and he's like, give me, and he goes, forget it. I'll let it go. And the monkey will walk away. And what that monkey will do is he'll see the other monkeys, and they'll go, and he'll see that the other monkeys, pop, they get captured. So what that monkey starts doing is trying to tell all the other monkeys. He'll jump up and down, and point at it. But they'll look at him and they'll go, banana, I want that banana. So they stick their hand in it, bop. And then the little monkey says, look, I tried to tell all my fellow monkeys to leave that banana alone, but they just won't let it go. That is how you are with a complaint that won't disappear. You're the monkey holding on to that banana until the cost, and that could be, your health. It can be your freedom and power, but until it's gonna cost you that. And if you don't let it go in time, then just like the monkey, you get bopped, and now you're in a trap, in a cage. But that's how you catch a monkey: banana box because they won't let go of that banana.
Ta-da!
Back to you, Nikki.
So here's the question. What action are you willing to take to be responsible and let the complaint go? Let me see what is present now for the divas. Who would like to share? Diva Robin.
Oh, yes. I just thought of something to share that I hadn't thought of before. This was before I was married to my husband. I was brought up in a family where somehow I guess it was my mother, but I picked it up that in order to be happy, you have to have a man in your life. And so I always made sure to have a man in my life, and if I didn't have a man or two or three who was pursuing me or that I was pursuing, or a combination, or even a boy when I was young, I started really young to be boy crazy, then I would be very frightened and uncomfortable until I had attracted another man, or sometimes he'd be dating more than one at a time, and my relationships were not good, shall we say. And part of it was that I wasn't too particular because I had to have one, and one would come along and I would go, phew, I've got one now. and that went on that went on for years and years. And I would get out of relationships that were unworkable, but I would still have to turn around and have another man as soon as possible. And people kept telling me that as long as I wasn't happy on my own, that I could never have a really, really outstanding relationship with a man. And I was too afraid of not having a man to try it. And people would tell me that, and I kept on having these terrible relationships, but being right that I knew, but I didn't care what they said. I knew I had to have a man. And finally, I just decided I'd had it. I just decided that's it. I can't stand it anymore. I'm gonna listen. I mean, people were probably telling me this for 20 years. different people were telling me, and I was ignoring it for all those years. Finally, I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And I stopped dating altogether. And I was only relating to men as friends. And I took on that it was going to, however long it took me to learn to be really happy on my own, I wasn't going to date or even consider it until then. And so that's what I did. And it was very funny because my stepmother was from the same school I was. And every single week I would get on the phone with her and she'd say, well, who are you dating? And I said, you mean since last week? Because every single week she would ask me the same thing. How could I have been, if I was dating somebody, it would only have been 7 days. But I would say to her, I'm happy as I am. And if I find somebody who, that actually enhances my life and that is really great, then I will definitely, get right on that. And so it turned out that what people had been telling me all those years was absolutely correct. Once I was willing to listen to something other than my own being right and complaining about the men. And that's how I ended up with my adorable, wonderful husband.
You let the banana go and you got a tree.
I let the banana go and I got a tree. And I now pass along that same coaching, if you will, to anyone else who's going through that same frustration.
Wow.
That was kind of a biggie, Nikki.
Yes, and I loved it. You know what? But what
kind
I
of
love
embarrassing
about it
to
is
share it.
No, but that's what I love about it is that Diva Robin, there are lots of women who I'm sure, as you were telling that story, to relate to you.
Yeah.
So I thank you for that authentic. I thank you for being that authentic tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Diva Janice?
Yes, Diva Nikki. What I would like to say is, are we there?
Yes. Do you have anything you'd like to share?
Yes, ma'am, I would. For me, what is present for me is, and I have to look back at my childhood, being the seventh child in the family and the baby girl. I have been spoiled to demand certain things. And it comes from having brothers, and I give credit to the men because my brothers instilled some things in me, and I didn't realize what they were really grooming me for until I got in college. And I saw the dichotomy between my relationship with men and some of my college classmates. And what I have to say for me, and I don't apologize for this, and I preface this by saying I learned to be a little bit more selfish regarding me. Not that I didn't share, because I believe in sharing, but I put more emphasis on me, and I didn't know where that initially came from. And I had to look back. That's something that was passed on to me from my brothers, what they expected of me. And some of their expectations were not necessarily wrong. So I unconsciously adopted some of the things, the ideologies that they were conveying to me, and I carried that through life, which made me somewhat of an overachiever. So I didn't focus so much on relationships because I had the insight of how men thought about life and women based upon my very effective, and hear me clearly when I say this, very effective relationships with my brothers, my father, and my uncles. And they shared certain things. So I always saw men differently. And I wasn't willing to give guys certain things because they told me how men thought about certain things. So I did the opposite. And they said, oh, yeah, we look for women that would do this, da-da-da-da-da. But we prefer to have, this is our ideal woman if we're going to bring her home to mom. And they had all these categories. And at the time, I hadn't figured life out yet, but I just knew you guys can forget it, because I was the baby girl of the family, and yes, I was spoiled, and yes, I was accustomed to getting my way, and there was just no freaking way in the world I was going to give these guys all of this stuff, because I'm looking at these men whom I love dearly, my relatives, and I was thinking to myself, are you serious? Is this what this is what you guys do? However, moving forward into adulthood, for me, I realized I only get one chance. And I'll tell you what my reality came, how my grand reality came, is when I had a very serious car accident. And it was like, oh, I didn't get a chance to do this, and this. And of course, I made God all these promises. If you bring me through this, I went there.
That was just a laugh of recognition. I'm with you. Oh God, I hear you. Sometimes you get moved.
World, I'm going to expend my energy, and I'm like that to this day. It is going to take something, because I was almost crushed to death. There is no way in the world I could ever foresee myself giving 100% to somebody who's bringing 30 or 50%. You can't even talk to me talking about, oh, I'm going to bring 50. Dude, you better go back and look in that vault and see. If you don't have it, you better go take out a equity loan or something. But you better bring 100%, because I bring 100% to the table. I would never give of myself to someone who could not give equally. I mean, 100%. You got to bring something to the table, mind, body, and soul, because you only have one life. And no one is worth expending the energy in what you could develop, who you could become, what you can achieve, waiting for someone to put a value on you. I put value on me. I spent years without dating because I wanted a high quality education. And even to this day, I wanted to function at a certain level in life. And I'm grateful to God that He honored that request, but it went without many moments. And I would say to anyone, no one is worth you losing yourself for a person. You got to be whole as a person first, then whatever you bring to the table, you're going to find your vibrational match. God will honor that. He's going to bring that woman. He's going to bring that man into your life who deserves you, not somebody who's going to take from you. That's what I take from this.
As everyone is being with the moment, and I really, really just want to acknowledge you, Janice, for what you just shared, and because it just moved, and it's really great because when you see the cost of because the thing about complaints that don't disappear is you're living a lie. You are living a lie. Robin was living a lie. She didn't have to have a man in her life. But living that lie, what she truly desired was unattainable. Because that is what happened. It costs you the real love and joy you want in your life, the real freedom and power, that real full self-expression. And,
by the way, Ronnie, can I just insert one thing here? I just want to make the point, which I didn't when I was talking, that when I was in that space where I had taken on learning to be happy solo, I would have it was fine with me if I had been single the rest of my life. I did not do that in order to have a relationship with a man, which if I had done that, it would have been more of the same.
More than, I'm glad you said that because next session, because I know we have to wrap up this one, but next session we're gonna have a conversation about change versus disappearance, and I think everyone would love this because oftentimes we're just trying to change that situation. Well, we're gonna have a conversation. An inquiry into change versus disappearance. And I promise that you're going to get a lot of power out of that. And I need to get this back to Diva Nikki because she's running this segment. Have we got Diva Nakia back?
I am present, and I have been touched, moved, and inspired by every. And I just want to say that if I could just briefly share, Ronnie, just a moment, from our last seminar, our last webinar, the conversation that I had, and with the space that I have been in, and what both Janice and Robin shared is so relatable to me. And I basically told that young man, look, during the time that I'm off, it is your time to take the opportunity and try to get to know me. But the ball is in your court, and if you are genuinely and authentically interested in me, then you need to show me and tell me what your intentions are. Outside of that, there is nothing else. I don't care if you pursued me for 5 years. Roses, flowers, material things mean nothing if there is no substance behind it and if there's no authenticity. So I said that I was going to have a date. If this is what it is, then I would be going on a date by Sunday. And have I gone on a date? The answer is absolutely no. And am I at peace with that? Absolutely yes.
Hear, hear.
I'm very clear with what I desire. I'm clear with my intentions. And I'm clear at this point with what his the possibility of what his intentions were. because since I communicated with him last, I have not heard back from him. And there's no ill will. There's no ill will. There's nothing. And I said that when I see him or hear from him, I'm be like, hey, friend, because I want him to be clear that I'm okay with what occurred. I just need him to know that I'm confident in who I am and who I'm being and my expectations of what I desire for my life. And I am not going to just give myself to anybody for any reason if there's not something more than just a mere, hear this, hear that. Like Janice said, if we got the name wrong, I apologize. But I know what I'm worth. And I'm worth a hell of a lot more than just 50%.
That's right.
So thank you.
Wow. No, Nikki, I just want to share something just to make sure that we're being responsible. And one, there's nothing that you need for him to know.
Got it. Yeah, I got that.
There's nothing nobody need to know about you. Now,
Okay.
if they want to learn about you, then they have to do what people have to do when they want to learn about someone.
Exactly.
When I want to learn about someone, there are things that it's not that person's responsibility, it's my responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second thing to be responsible is that owning that owning that you know what you want and allowing that to happen.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's their responsibility.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you own it, then it's not a matter of what they do. It's a matter of who you are being. So if you are being the space of, hey, I'm open and available, you'll start noticing that the quote right kind of guy starts showing up. But that's a function of you being open and available to the right kind of guy. And let's just say that this gentleman was an example of not of you being open and available to the right kind of guy, settling for what you know you weren't going to settle for.
You so right. You are so right. And I agree. I agree because there was some convincing of self over a short kind of period of time to where I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to be more open to opportunities. Maybe I need to be open to what's available. Maybe I'm too closed off, too shut down. Maybe I'm not being considerate of. And you're right. You are right. Because there was an internal dialogue that occurred for a period of time in this space. And I had to, quote unquote, convince myself that this is the space that I should be going into. When for so long I took my hands off of it. And I have been okay. I've been great. But I was like, well, maybe I'm being too hard. Maybe I'm being too restrictive. Maybe, I'm not being open enough. So, yes, thank you. That was confirmation and acknowledgement. Thank you.
Yeah, remember, this is our work is about having the right person.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about how to avoid the wrong person, because where your intention focuses, that's what you get. Having the right person, the having what you deserve. But Diva, we do have to move along. Diva, Nikki, grab this conversation back and do something with it.
First, I want to acknowledge everyone for being so authentic and being transparent and each story was relevant and relatable to so many people in different audiences. So I want to thank you for sharing also your vulnerability. That took courage, okay, and sharing your journey and your pain. And to your listeners out there and to the participants, I want you to know as well and to be encouraged that wherever you are and wherever you have been, we all have our own journey, right? So be present to your own journey. Take responsibility for where you've been and where you are and where you're headed, where you desire to go from here. With that being said, we're going to take us a break. We're going to take a 5-minute break. Please return at 7:16 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll be back with Divine Prosperity Breakfast with Diva and Nakia.
Consciousness. I am a magnificent creation of God. I see, feel, touch, taste, smell with my senses, and all of what I absorb in the outer world is identified and appreciated when decoded by my brain. Still, as a magnificent creation of God, there is much more to me than my mind and body. The Christ nature of perfection is within me, a consciousness of divine wisdom. Living in an awareness of the inner Christ, I dismiss all misconceptions about what was, is, or is yet possible. I have access to understanding that penetrates through any cloud of limitations I or others might tend to cast over my experiences. With gratitude, I accept the fulfillment that is rightfully mine as a beloved creation of God. I do not simply go through the motivation of living. I live life fully. I know him because I am from him, and he sent me. John 7:29.
Open my eyes to a cloudy day. A picture perfect world so far away. I know you could make the gray skies turn blue if I wanted you to. So baby, I'm on my way. I hear the cab with your sweet face on my mind. Traffic standing still. They just ain't no friend of mine. Oh, I'm rushing towards ya. I'm looking for ya. So baby, come and be my light. You kiss me like the blue sky. Sunshine. Come and hold me close under the moonlight. Hold me with your light. Don't you know you're my sweet light? Ooh, a block away and I can almost feel your touch. I can't stay away, you know I've got to have your love. Your smile really moves me, give you all of me. Baby, I'm a fool for you. You're the kind of man that sets this woman free. I need you here next to me. You You are my light, my light. You know you're my only capture me with your sweet light. Oh, you are my sunshine. Oh, the love of my life. You are my sweet light.
Welcome back to Living Wealthy, the basics, love, romance, and partnership. It is time for the Divine Prosperity Blaster. Diva, Nakia, blast away.
All right, all right, all right. I'm glad to be in the house. Welcome back. I am Nakia, the Empress of Faith, and I have a great Divine Prosperity Blaster for you this week. Whew, do it now. Putting off a difficult task until later makes it more difficult, more burdensome. Burdensome. Instead, do it now. Act now, and you'll act with maximum effectiveness. Act now, and the work will be done. Sure, it's more fun to do what you want to do instead of what you have to do. Yet, doing what you want is even more fun when you've already done what you have to do. Exercise your own discipline to do it now when you have a choice. Or you'll be disciplined by factors outside of your control to do it later when you don't have a choice. The more difficult and undesirable the task, the more reason you have to go ahead and do it. You'll spend less time having to do it and much more time having it done. Woo. You'll spend much less time having to do it and much more time having it done. I wanted you to get that. Do yourself, do your present self and your future self a big favor. Do it now. All right, pen, paper in hand. Write the following categories: love, romance, partnership. Under each category, write 3 situations where doing it now would make a difference. Under each situation, write the conversations that keep you from doing it now. What conversations can you create that would empower you in doing it now? So I'm going to give you a few suggestions: creativity, forgiveness, possibility, freedom, or love. Now, these suggestions are related to what conversations you can create that would empower you in doing it now. Those suggestions, again, are creativity, forgiveness, possibility, freedom, or love. And as always, I'm going to make the request that you keep a daily log or post daily on Facebook any results or insights, and please share with the Prosperous Divas. We love to get correspondence from you. We want to know what's on your mind, the differences that is being made in your life, and the value that you are getting from doing the work compared to when you wasn't doing the work. What impacts have been made? So we're going to take a moment to share any breakthroughs or insights from tonight's session. So while you're working and taking action, Nikki, would you mind, would you like to share any breakthroughs or insights from tonight's session?
I would. And my breakthrough actually is gonna be an update also from last week. So you all know I shared last week about my struggle with fighting to want to live and my grieving over my mother. And in this past week, what transpired with me was going through some notes and previous messages, knowing that my mother, as hard as it might be in this process, not only would want me to live, but she would want me to do whatever it took, whatever I needed to do to get through this time and keep God first. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not okay, but I'm living and I'm keeping God first, and that by itself speaks volumes. So I wanted to share that, and it's and it is about me. This is something that is about me, but it's okay.
Thank you so much, Nikki, for sharing. Thank you for the update. I know that there are so many people who support the Prosperous Divas and those that are just tuning in that are not necessarily clear that want you and has already declared that you are okay and you will be okay. You will continue to be okay. And you have support from not just the team, but for so many people out there that are praying for you and standing in the gap. So thank you for the update and thank you for your resilience and for just being present in what is so for you in your life and continuing to walk through it. And we love you.
Thank you, and I love you all too. Thank you.
Indeed, indeed. So, Miss Janice, would you like to share, or Miss Robin?
Yes, I would. This is Jan. And my takeaway tonight is, of course, assessing my passion to empower people to be true to themselves and striking a balance, or being in sync rather, with who they are as a person, and not be concerned with external opinion, but learning to be healthy first, present in mind, body, and soul, so that you can live out your divine journey in the earth and manifest what you're supposed to manifest without apology. If you're a strong person, be loving and strong and keep it moving. So that's what's present for me, as well as being vulnerable to allow people in to love you and to care about you, to inspire you, as well as to challenge you, because life is evolutionary. So that's what's present for me.
Thank you so much for that.
This is Robin, and for me, it hasn't been any one thing. It's been just lots of things are really present for me. The supremacy of love, that especially in what Ronnie shared tonight, but really throughout all the sharing, the power of conversation, the beauty and the joy of living in a conscious place, like learning to notice what the cost of complaints is, things like that. And I think being so grateful for the journey and for all of the influences, including all of you, that have made my life so sweet. And I hope that I do that for others as well.
Thank you so much for that sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Ronnie?
Wow. No, really, really, everything has just been so. I'm going to steal one of Diva Janice's expressions. It's just so rich.
You're a smart man, Ronnie.
I'm going to steal one of hers, and one of our courses are designed standing from. This is what we stand on, that you're already whole and complete and filled with love and joy, and that there are barriers to your experience of yourself as a divine being who's whole and complete and filled with love and joy. Now, that's what we stand on. That's what we say. So everything that gets produced, created, is standing in that you're already whole and complete and filled with love and joy, and that there are barriers to the expression, your experience of that. And our conversations are not to tell you anything you don't already know. Our conversations are so that you can see what you haven't been seeing. The job of a coach is to have you do what you don't want to do so that you can see what you didn't want to see, so that you can be the best that you say you want to be. So all we do is have conversations where you keep peeling away the onion, peeling away the onion. And as Janice indicated, if there's no action, in other words, if you don't do the work, we can't promise that you'll get there. Now, you may get a result. You may get a breakthrough. You may get a miracle. But we're not guaranteeing that if you don't do the work. And you may do the divine everything we did tonight. You might say, "Oh, that was great," and then you sit down and do the divine prosperity blaster and go, "Oh," because you put pen to paper and you actually started getting present, and instead of dismissing the question, you engaged yourself in the question. And that's when you start opening yourself up to what you don't know. You don't know. So it's been very, very moving, and I just want to say Diva Janice, welcome, welcome, because you have made your presence known.
Thank you, Brother Ronnie. I appreciate that.
Thank you. You are a sister, and I don't say that lightly. I don't say it. And
I'm gonna reserve comment. Okay, thank you, but thank you.
All right, and we just love you. I love you, and we just love you dearly. And Diva Robin, I will say this, that the current world gets better and better around you. So let me let Diva Nakia take her second back so we can get wrapped up here.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you all so much for sharing. As I said, mine is just brief. It's very important that we are really present in our listening to the sharing and the conversation that is had throughout these sessions. Never know what impacts whom and how it impacts an individual, how it could alter one's thoughts or listening. And no, we're not telling you what's right or wrong. We're simply sharing and having a conversation, like Ronnie says. And there are various distinctions in which a person would gain value from the conversation. So I just really appreciate the authenticity and the transparency of each person and the sharing of their lives, of our lives, that we don't sit here and wake up and each morning and think to just have conversations that are so transparent about our personal lives with strangers or with anyone, in a lot of ways to that matter. But for the environments in which is created to have a safe space to really share and be transparent and not be judged and understand what our responsibilities are and how we're held to account for our choices, however they look. So thank you, and I look forward to a continuation of these conversations so therefore we can impact the lives of so many more people and transform the world to be just as authentic and transparent and genuine in their sharing and making a difference. With that being said, we have a couple of ways for you to stay in the conversation. Being at our next session, which is Living Wealthy, the Basics, Love, Romance, and Partnership. Woo! Excuse me. Session 4. Thank you. Will be Sunday, April 1st, 2018. And I do want you to know that is Living Wealthy, the Basics, Love, Romance, and Partnership, Session 4 April 1st, 2018, from 5 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time to 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Diva Janice, how can we be in your world? It is, of course, a powerful place.
Thank you so much for asking us. Folks can be in our world you can reach me at www.power, the word power, the number 4now.com. Once again, you can reach me at power, the number 4now.com, and you can chime into many of our conversations and also contribute your opinions. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. And if you would like to learn more about Diva Nikki's wealth building programs, visit prosperousdivas.com/future wealth or email her at currencytrader@prosperousdivas.com. With Diva Robin, Coach Extraordinaire, how should people contact you, my love?
Two ways. One is my email, which is robinartist@gmail.com. That's ROBYN. Y is really important. ROBYN, artist, ARTIST, robinartist@gmail.com. And then, I haven't said this before as a panelist here, but I would also love to share my artwork with people who hear this. To see the work that I do, you just go to www.robinjameson.com. And, of course, Robin is still spelled ROBYN, and Jameson is JAMISON.com. And that's where I've posted a great deal of my artwork. Thanks for the opportunity to share that.
Wow, absolutely. I'm sure there are so many people, so many of our listeners that would love to find out more about your artwork and see what you have going on and, definitely be present with the continuation of the expansion for everyone who is sharing and present, and we thank you in advance. So, as everyone knows, you can visit me at appointedtimeforyou.com. And I look forward to all correspondence and sharing any questions that you may have, any insights, comments, or otherwise. Tonight's Prosperous Divas are Robin Jameson, Janice Hollis, Nikki Taplin, myself, Nikia Franklin, our co-leader, Ronnie Bassett, Ronnie B., courtesy of the Old Grumpy Radio Network. Please enjoy the performances at the end of the seminar tonight. And remember, Prosperous Divas, prosperity is a mindset that can be created by anyone. Peace, love, and blessings. We're out. Until next time. Much love.
You say you want every girl in the world, that's some wish list idea, no one to match it. Just be mindful that every one of 4 of these girls come with a package that you can't re-wrap and give back, kid. I am a poet laureate, yeah, look it up, kid. You can have the hearts of a lion in any lyrical battle, but I am the one that they call Daniel, look it up, kid. I remain calm as the den, I close the mouths of idiots. Lisa and relentless is synonymous. Decipher my scheme if you dare. I'm fighting to reverse that lyrical curse that you spit in my neighbor's ear. My words are heaven sent. God's scientific spirit seals it and I deliver it. With no intent to come in at number one, my God is 3 and 1. I have no problem being numberless. But is your ignorance infinite? Always bragging about the latest rhyme that you spit. I'm a lady. I don't spit, I'm tsunami. FEMA's still looking for me. And if they ever try to lock me away, I'll just please temporary insanity and tell them that I see dead poets that I try to resurrect in my dreams. I got you thinking that I'm crazy, but you still want me on your team. Because if you're like Kobe of today, then I'm like Mike in the 90s. Go ahead, put up 80 points, boy, I got 6 rings. You can have MVP, I'm a dynasty. I'm that bull in my mouth is the 7th ring. You're that bull they never talk about, you simple-minded little thing. My brain waves are so crazy, I just rub radio frequencies and you still tune in daily. I don't take this here lightly. I go to sleep with a pen in my hand just in case my thoughts try and jump out the bed. Get with it. I'm a huge fan of dreaming because every night when I'm asleep, God writes on the inside of my eyelids. And the devil tries to eBay my soul, but I wouldn't let him get a bid in. I tell him that it's music tricks off the kids, but call me a silly rabbit. I got all kind of tricky words up my sleeve. That's why I wear long sleeve. I'm a cutter. I slash wrists of poets who don't rip the pen correctly. I should have been a doctor. I get verbal hysterectomies. Come across my path and your notebooks go barren, you won't be able to write nothing for a week. While I stay fertile, I procreate words like John and Kate. And if I was a dude, my pen will never shoot blanks. I'm timeless. I'm priceless. It's a crisis that they let me get away with this. I'm timeless.